Hey, Kratom Quitters. This is Libby, and this is the Kratom Sobriety Podcast. Today I am with Decima and Jacob, and we have some exciting updates that I'm just going to let everyone else get into.
Well, first, hi, Decima. It's been a very long time since we chatted. How are you?
Yes, it has been.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. I'm so excited to check in with you guys. How you been?
I've been up and down, but good for the most part. 2024 was a good year, a lot of growth,
It flew by, right?
It did fly by, yeah.
Whew.
It's interesting when you're sober. Sometimes it feels like the days take a really long time, but then when you look back, it's been like, holy shit, a month went by or 2 months went by. It's like weird how time works like that.
Right?
Yeah. But what have you been up to?
Oh my gosh, I've been up to a lot. How long has it been since we talked? Has it been maybe a year?
I don't think that long. At least 6 months, maybe 7, 8. I don't know, something around there. It was warm the last time. I remember that. It's cold now.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to think of what all I've done. I know that since talking with you last, I have become a certified peer support specialist, which is kind of a big deal to me. I'm certified by the state of Mississippi, and I actually started working at a drug and alcohol treatment center on the weekends. I facilitate 3 group sessions every weekend with the inpatient and outpatient clients. And yeah, it's been amazing just being able to pay it forward a little bit, some of that recovery work that I've done and help others recover as well. So that's been the big change for me.
Yeah, that's cool. How have you found it? Has it been an adjustment? Is it different than like the meetings you were doing online because you're at a treatment center? Because you're probably seeing all different kinds of addiction.
Yeah, it was actually way different than what I'm used to because we do have meetings in the kratom recovery space. And whenever I started, I was kind of expecting it to be that way. Well, first of all, the sessions are anywhere from 2 to 3 hours, which is way longer than I'm used
Yeah,
to
that's a long
meeting.
meeting.
And then we're also, we're learning things. We're going over topics and we're, interacting and having activities. It's a whole session plan rather than just getting together and sharing where you are, like we do in our meetings. So
Yeah.
it's way different.
Yeah, I see that. That's cool. Since you're in a treatment center and you get to see kind of the people coming in, do you see a lot of people with kratom or is it still not a lot?
So there are people there with kratom addiction listed as their drug of choice. And we currently have 3 people in treatment, inpatient, that are struggling with. One person is kratom only. The other 2 is other substances as well as kratom.
Okay.
So yeah, it's actually becoming more common. There's still a lot of people that don't understand exactly or know what it is. And I will say that when we're talking about it, I do find myself in a weird space of how much do I share here with these recovering addicts.
Yeah.
Because I do fear introducing them to it when they're saying, what is it? What does it do? And you get this at the convenience store and it's legal.
Mhm.
And I'm like, can we talk about something else now? But
Yeah.
yeah, I usually end on if you can buy it at the gas station, especially if it's behind the glass, it's no good for you. Stay away from it,
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that for sure. I've learned that the hard way.
Yeah. So yeah, we definitely do see them coming in, trickling in for sure.
I bet. So what are you up to in the kratom space? It's been a while since I've gone to a meeting, but every time I see you, I'm like, I should go to more, and then I don't. But maybe I will this year.
You
I'll see.
should.
I
We
should.
missed
Yeah, I
you.
should.
Yeah. Well, we're still having the meetings. I don't remember if we had them every night last time we talked, but we definitely have them every single night now. We also have them, is it 3 or 4 days a week now at noon. So the number of meetings that we're having has increased, but not only that, the attendance is, oh my gosh, this last week especially, we've seen an influx. I'm guessing because of the new year, new me attitude.
Hmm.
A lot of people are probably,
Resolutions.
yeah. So we've seen an influx. We've actually broken some attendance records this week. We're seeing 40 to 50 people in these meetings every night. Like it's really getting big, Jacob.
That's awesome.
Bittersweet,
Yeah.
Yeah, because we're glad they found us, but to see so many people So, yeah, we're still doing that. We also are still organizing and getting ready to submit our articles of incorporation to become an official nonprofit. So, we
Oh,
do
that's
have that.
awesome.
Yeah, we should actually have that complete before the end of January, is the goal. So, we got that going on.
What does that exactly mean?
So, our mission, I'm sorry, I don't have it pulled up, but I'm going to give it to you in my words.
That's okay.
Please do tell us in your words.
Our mission basically is to provide resources and support for kratom addicts and their loved ones. It's just as simple as that. We're trying to fill that space because, a lot of people aren't familiar with it, or they don't know where to find the support, or they're in a weird space at, say, AA or these other recovery places where they're just not quite feeling like, can I share about kratom here? Should I be taking kratom? Like, it's just, we're trying to fill that need.
Yeah, it's a gray area. Some people go to meetings and use kratom as sort of like a mat drug too. So you gotta keep that in mind. It's always interesting when in more larger population.
Harm reduction.
Yeah. Other than the articles of incorporation and the continued expansion of meetings, do you have any other goals for the nonprofit for 2025 or anything else you're like real excited about for this upcoming year?
Yes, the big thing is our first gathering. We have been
Okay.
talking about it for a while, but yeah, we all want to get together in person in Orange Beach, Alabama, where kratom is illegal. So yeah,
Okay, well, okay, that's cool.
yeah, that's the big one. I'm so excited to meet. I got to meet a few people, that I've gotten close to in this community last year, because it's not just me. We have,
hmm
I'm not even going to say names because I will leave somebody out inevitably, and I don't want to do that. But suffice it to say, there's a good 20 to 30 people that are just as dedicated to this
Oh,
as
wow.
I am. Yeah, hosting these meetings, taking on commitments, being mentors, reaching out to people that need one on one support. Like, there's a lot of stuff we're trying to do. And we are still early and setting those goals. So keep an eye out on the website, and we'll definitely keep everybody posted on where we are with that for sure.
Yeah. So for people that are listening to this and are like, what are they talking about? Where can I go get information about all this? Where should people go to find out more about where to go to get meeting information and where to find out more about what your nonprofit's up to?
So kratomquitters.com is our website. We even have a link to the podcast there. So any resources that we know about at all, we're going to put them on there because we need all the tools, right? So kratomquitters.com, you're going to find the full schedule for all of the meetings. We have a women's meeting and a men's meeting. We're trying to set up some other niche meetings as well. So you can also find links to other meetings besides ours. There are other communities out there as well, and they have meetings. So you'll see those links. So we have speaker meetings regularly, and we've been recording those where basically somebody will tell their recovery story. So we do have a page where we have a library of people that have shared their story. You can binge that. It's a great tool to
Yeah, that's
use, like
cool.
when you're detoxing, go from the podcast to the speaker meetings. What else? I guess that's about it for the website. You should be able to find your way to us, to our Signal chat, or a meeting through the website.
Did I hear you say that you're expanding the meeting list this year too?
Yes, we are going to be having more meetings. The goal is to have one every day at noon. And then we also have people on the West Coast that it's a little early for them whenever
Yeah.
we have our meeting. So we're actually getting ready to start our first. It'll be 10 p.m. Eastern meeting, but it'll actually stay tuned for those details so I don't give them to you wrong, but it's going to be a later meeting for the West
Gonna be a
Coast
later
people.
meeting.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much. That's so exciting for me.
Yeah, Libby's out on
Yeah.
the West Coast, so it'll be good for
Nice.
her. Well, for people that are listening and they're like, they've been sober for a little bit, they're looking to give back, they're listening, they're like, wow, that sounds cool. How do I get involved? How can people get a hold of you or your organization? How should someone reach out if they're interested to help?
Okay, well, you can actually just go to the website and there's links to click on to email us, or we have a feedback form. I also wanted to tell you guys I have a list for every single state in the United States, the official link where you would want to go if you're interested in becoming a peer support specialist and maybe giving back in person. If that's something you're interested in, we do have that list as well.
Will you go into a little bit of detail what that means exactly?
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Yeah, I would love to. So, being a peer support specialist basically means that I work with clients in recovery, and I am somebody that's basically a bridge between them and the professionals. I'm not a therapist or anything like that. I'm one of them. So, I can relate to them what worked for me, what their therapist and the professionals, the tools that they are giving them, how they worked for me, if they worked for me. Basically, just being that bridge. It's amazing. And being an inspiration and showing them, what your life can be. We all know how that is, right? How much better it is on this side. So I think that's why I got so passionate about it. I just really wanted to give back, and I want everybody to have this. I see that desperation and I remember it. It's so heartbreaking. And the newer, stronger products that are coming out, I'm going to tell you guys right now, I'm so glad I got out of the game before these products came
Me
out.
too.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
My heart, if you're listening to this and you are on those products, my heart goes out to you. Please reach out to somebody, even if it's, a family member, reach out to this podcast, our website,
Yeah.
somebody out there, please, because there is support out there, and I promise you can do this.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. So if someone becomes a peer support specialist, like what's the typical time commitment? You mentioned on the weekends, and like how many people are you usually working with when you're on site, like on a given day?
Well, it's going to probably be different in each state, but in my state, it's not something that pays a whole lot of money. So I definitely
Okay.
don't do it for the money, but it doesn't feel like work to me.
Yeah.
A typical day, I show up with my plan, and there's usually 8 to 15 clients, and we spend the session, however long it is, be it an hour and a half to 3 hours, and we learned something. Today, in fact, we went over the 4 different boundaries. For an example, we talked about boundaries and went around and gave examples and learned how we could deal with the challenges when it comes to boundaries. But yeah, it's typically something like that. A lot of these people are early in recovery, still detoxing. So, we
Yeah.
have to sometimes deal with some sensitive situations, but I absolutely love it, Jacob. I'm going to tell you right now, the very first time that I stepped in that room, I felt like I was home. I was like, this
I
is
bet. Yeah.
where I belong.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, to have someone that understands too, because I'm just thinking about it, going through my head about like if I was detoxing all those times and had someone that I could just sit with and talk to, they could be like, it'll be okay, just it'll be all right in a couple minutes or hours or days or whatever it's gonna take.
Yeah. Somebody that's been through it, and that they feel what you are feeling and going through.
Yeah. And for people that maybe are on those strong products, or even if you're just taking kratom powder and you feel stuck and you tried everything else and you are looking to get help, you've gone to the meetings, but you want to do something and you need to connect with someone in person, what would you recommend they do, Decima, now that you're on the other side of it?
Well, I would probably seek an in-person meeting if you wanted to, catch up with somebody in person, maybe something like the phoenix.org where you can find an in-person meeting for whatever kind of recovery meeting might happen to be in your area, be it AA, Smart Recovery, or whatever. And if you're really in a bad situation, don't be afraid to reach out to the professionals. Some people do have to go to rehab for kratom, and that is okay. I absolutely 100% say talk to your doctor. I mean,
Yeah.
the only way that they're going to learn about this stuff is if we keep talking about it and be honest.
Yeah, I agree.
Now, I did have one more thing that I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, let's chat. What do you want to talk about? Yeah.
You're probably going to find that I have been a lot more vocal in the community, and not just in the community, but locally in my actual city when it comes to the legalities of kratom.
Okay. I want to talk about this. Yeah, let's do it.
And it's not that I want everything banned, take it away. That's not what this is about. This is about all these dangerous products coming out now that the vendors basically unregulated and they see that
Mhm.
they are going to be able to do whatever the hell they want to do. It's like the wild, wild west out there. It's chaos. And I just really feel like it needs to be regulated.
Mhm.
I agree. Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Put some warnings on it, just like cigarettes or alcohol. Let's have the truth. That's what it's about. We're all adults. I'm not trying to take anybody's choice away from them.
Me
I
either.
just want your choice to be much more informed with the truth. So, yeah, I talked to my city council again this last Tuesday.
Amazing.
Okay.
The mayor was so nice. Like, I cried when I walked out because he was like, I remember you, Miss Davis. And we talked to the legislators up in Jackson at length, and we're really fighting for this. And we appreciate you standing up again. And we're going to take this a step further, is his word.
Oh, that's
So,
awesome.
yeah. And in fact, tomorrow morning, I have an interview with our local news crew. They reached out to me after that. So,
That's so
here
cool.
we go.
Yeah, from my perspective, really, it's these new products that I think are to be honest, you can get addicted to anything. So I don't want
Right.
anybody listening to think that there's any difference between what you're taking. It's all the same. It all leads to the same place. But I think just looking at potency and how strong some of these extracts are, and the fact that some of them are full agonists at the mu opioid receptor, you're not dealing with kratom anymore when you're taking something like the 7 hydroxymetrogenine extracts that are out there. So that is a whole other ball game. And like you said, without proper labeling, without proper guidance on what to take, without understanding the other drugs or supplements or things you may be taking that can interact with it, you have no idea what you're getting into potentially.
Well, and not only that, sometimes you're completely misled about what it is that you're getting into. For example,
Yes.
today I actually saw an ad come across my Facebook. I'm looking at it right now. It says plant based serenity. Experience the natural way to unwind. Discover a natural path to wellness and a
They're so
balanced
clever.
life. Our plant based products are here to support you. That makes me sick. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
That is predatory, and people get caught by that unsuspectingly. And that is why I'm so passionate about it now. That's so wrong. It is not a path
Yeah.
to wellness without some serious warning.
Yeah, when you're talking about ads like that, there's a real lack of informed consent when there's a bunch of people out there who have absolutely no history of addiction, and then they get duped by that kind of marketing, and all of a sudden they're in a whole new world, and they had no idea, and there was no consent for that, and so that's the problem. Is I'm totally on board with you. There really needs to be some regulation.
And in some cases, it's sitting right next to 5 Hour energy drinks, so it looks like it's basically the same thing. And I'll even tell you, they've taken it even another step further. I know that you guys have probably seen some of those pretty, colorful ads with the candies and caramels and taffies and cartoon characters on the packaging. This is insane. Come on now.
I saw a 7-OH nasal spray today.
Oh,
Oh
It was
my
like a
God, are
nasal
you
spray.
serious? Wow.
Yes, I'm serious. I don't know
A
if it
pink
works, but
candy package with a cartoon character on it. You're after my child at this point, is my opinion. I just don't
yeah.
like that.
Oh, that's heartbreaking.
Yeah, it is heartbreaking.
It's
Yeah.
ugly what they're doing.
Yeah, it is. Me personally, when I first started, that was a big marketing to me too. It was like it was marketed as a natural, safe substitute for alcohol, which as a alcoholic that always struggled with relapsing, I was, really wanting to believe that.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. People are desperate. When they are
Yeah.
in another addiction, you're addicted to alcohol, and somebody says, hey, I fell for it. I did. I fell for it
Yeah.
because I chose kratom as a means to come off of Suboxone. And it worked for me at first.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
I fell for it too. I get it. I get the desperation.
Yeah.
So to circle back around, I'm just curious, like if you were going to suggest to somebody how they might go about speaking to their mayors or their council people, like how did you go about that?
So that's a great question. The way I went about it, first of all, I just started Googling, trying to figure out. And what I suggest doing is going straight to your city hall or your city council page. And usually they will have on there, if not, find their phone number and call them and see when they have open meetings to the public. Ours has a public speaking segment where you are allowed 3 minutes to speak. There's no feedback or anything like that. All you get to do is speak. It's actually live streamed on YouTube. So, yeah, that would be my suggestion. Go to your city hall, ask them when you can come to the city council meeting and speak because your mayor and all your city councilmen are going to be there. And then what to say to them, I suggest telling them your experience. I would really emphasize the fact that it is right here in our town in gas stations and unsuspecting nurses, teachers, parents, our neighbors are falling for this predatory marketing. Also, make it very clear that it's unregulated. Like, that's a big thing because basically it's just something we don't really know we're taking. That's scary, but it's got to be regulated. What do you guys think?
I think the 7-OH things will be regulated, may potentially even be pharmaceuticals one day, because I do think there's some actual medicinal properties, but I think that they're basically on par with something like hydrocodone. And if we're not going to allow that to be legal, which I don't think anybody's calling to legalize at this point, I don't see how those will remain legal. I do think kratom powder probably will be, and maybe even some of the extracts, but I would suspect they'll probably end up, and I don't know, this could take decades, probably end up in a place like with recreational marijuana in the state I live in, or alcohol, where there's some more regulation on it, maybe some tighter restrictions on advertising. It's interesting that advertising, because you can't advertise for cigarettes, there's a really serious push right now to do something similar with alcohol advertising, so there wouldn't be these gigantic advertisements for like Budweiser in the Super Bowl and things like that anymore, which is interesting because there's a ton of money in that. So we'll see how that happens. And this is the United States, and money usually wins. So
well, we all know that prohibition doesn't work, but
yeah,
if it's not regulated, it doesn't need to be on the shelves. That's basically my bottom line. Like, if you guys want to put it back on the shelves after it's regulated, go for it. After it's got a warning label on it and we
yeah.
have some honesty out there, then put it back out there. I've already made my decision. Let others make theirs, but it just really needs to be, there needs to be truth out there.
Yeah, exactly. Either that or don't have the industry try to regulate itself, have an independent body do it.
Can you imagine going to eat at a restaurant and they're like doing their own inspections? Like, are you really supposed to trust that? That's unheard of.
Yeah, it's a bit funny.
I worry that things must get a lot worse before they will do anything about it. That's my fear, is that a politician's son has to die for this to get the attention that it needs to get. So I'm hopeful that's not the case, but
well, see, that's another reason why it's also good to speak to your local councilman, because maybe by you speaking to them, it might set something in their brain. Maybe they have somebody in their family that's taking kratom and they didn't know. And there you go. Now you have a personal connection to it, a councilman that has a vested interest in making sure people are safe,
Yeah. There's a woman in a medium-sized urban area in the region I live in that went to her city council after her son passed away, and the coroner, attributed the death to mitragynine. She just didn't convince them. There was a whole bunch of people that showed up to try to lobby pro, and then there was another couple people that spoke against it, but ultimately the city council voted to essentially ban it, and they took the same stance until someone can properly regulate the product. We don't want it on the shelves. We are seeing that some local actions, and they seem to be increasing.
I'm going to tell you right now, my city council and my mayor left me feeling pretty good about the whole thing. I have a feeling that my city is about to do something about it. I hope so. I really do. I'll let you guys know. You'll be there.
keep us posted.
Be very interested.
Definitely will.
Well, I think that's a really good note to end on, unless we have anything else.
No, just don't suffer in silence. You guys reach out. There is support out there. We're just going to keep on making room for you and space for you. So please don't be afraid to reach out. And thank you guys so much for having me back on. It was so good to catch up.
Yeah, it was lovely to talk to you, Decima. Thank you so much.
Good night.